Hi, Miss Fisher here. So I'm going to do lesson 5 for your math blue book. So make sure you have your blue book and we're going to open up to lesson 5. So up here it tells you lesson 5 and we're in book 1.5. All right, lesson 5. Let's go ahead and read the directions, all right? Darnell and Tamara are comparing their grapes. Darnell's vine has 9 grapes. Tamara's vine has 6 grapes. How many more grapes does Darnell have than Tamara? Reading this first time through, we need to decide, are we adding or subtracting? There are some key terms here to help us figure that out. How many more? So when we're trying to compare, talking about how many more does one person have than another, we're going to need to subtract because we're comparing one amount to another. So we're not trying to combine. So we're going to subtract. So I'm going to go ahead and put the subtraction symbol up in that top right corner. It's just a reminder, after I read it the second time, I need to figure out what I'm going to subtract. The first time I was just trying to figure out, am I adding, am I subtracting, what does this problem need me to do? And I had to go, okay, I need to subtract to find out the answer. So Darnell and Tamara are comparing their grapes. Darnell's vine has 9 grapes and Tamara's vine has 6 grapes. Okay, so now I'm comparing 9 and 6. I have my two numbers, right? 9 and 6. If you want, you can go ahead and write that down there. And then we need to go ahead and draw the picture. So we need to draw how many grapes Darnell has. It says he has, and then we'll look through, Darnell has 9 grapes. So we need to draw a vine. We're going to write Darnell, and we're going to draw a vine that shows 9 grapes. You have a little fun with this. You can make a bunch of grapes with 9 on them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here is Darnell's grapes. 9 grapes for Darnell. Now the next one is we now need to figure out how many Tamara has. Up here it says Tamara has 6. So I'm going to draw out 6 grapes for Tamara. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there, I went ahead and drew 9 for Darnell and 6 for Tamara. But that's only my first part in trying to subtract to figure out how much more. One way we can do this instead of crossing out is circling. Circle to find similar groups. Oh, sorry, I think something's in my eye. So we're going to circle to find similar groups. We know Tamara has 6. So our base group is 6. Tamara has 6. We know Darnell has at least 6. We know he has more, but how many more is the question. So go ahead and circle 6 for Darnell. I went ahead and circled 6. Count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Darnell has 6 plus some, and Tamara has 6 total. Now I'm going to go ahead and go, how many more does Darnell have? So I'm going to look at this picture. I'm going to see 1, 2, 3. So now I know Darnell has 3 more than Tamara. So 9 minus 6 equals 3. And you need to make sure you draw a picture and write out the problem. You need to do both. The second part of this word problem is to write. So not only do we need to have a picture and have a number sentence, we need to have a statement. That's a sentence with words. We need to have a statement. So first thing we're going to say is we need to figure out who we're comparing to. We're saying Darnell. And Darnell has, and then we need to put the number of grapes, blank more grapes than Tamara. And then here you need to write which number? 3, because he has 3 more grapes. So for that, you really just need to draw a picture, write your number sentence, and then write your statement. And there you go. You've solved the first part for lesson number 5. If you're needing more time to copy this down, please go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next page. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention. There's on page 213, so part of lesson 5. You need to go to page 213. go ahead and rip this page out. This is meant to help you with the lessons. So this is going to feel weird, but you're going to rip it out. It should be nice and easy. And then you're going to go back to that problem. Don't forget you need to practice writing your first and last name and write your date at the top. All right, so I wrote my name and the date at the top of my page, because even if you're not at school, you need to be practicing this anyways, because it's a good habit to have. Because once you come back to school and you're back on campus, you don't want to forget how to write your first and last name or how to put your date on the page. Looking at number 1, we don't need this quite yet because this is basically the same. So you can keep this to the side, and we're going to look at number 1. It says, how many shapes were used to make this large square? So we got to count through here and figure out how many shapes. If you want, you can color in each individual shape, but you need to make sure all the shapes are a different color or it's not going to help you figure out how many shapes there are. I am just going to number mine, but if you want, you can color it. So I'm going to go ahead and count, and I'm going to write my numbers on this to help me keep track so I don't count one too many times or I don't miss one. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there are 7 shapes in the square. So I am going to write 7, but I'm also going to write it out in word form. And I would love if you could do this as practice for how to spell the word 7. And I'm putting it in parentheses. S-E-V-E-N, 7. So go ahead and do that, please. All right, this next part, it says write the names of the 3 shapes that are used to make the large square. So there's one type of shape here. I'm going to go ahead and color it in nice and green. That hopefully you guys all know the name of. It is a 3-shaped sign, and it is called a triangle. So we need to go ahead and write triangle on the line. T-R-I-A-N-G-L-E. Triangle. Because we have 1, 2 triangles in our picture. Actually, just kidding. We have 4 triangles in our picture. I was looking at the big triangles, only the little ones. Whew. Miss Fisher. Look at all your triangles. You have 2 big triangles. Number 1 shape and number 7 shape are triangles too. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. So we can write the number 5 under it. So we have 5 triangles. So now the only shape left we have is this number 3 and this number 6. Let's start with number 3. If it's this way, turn the page a little. Does this shape look a little easier to you now? Hopefully you said it's a square, because it is a square, and there's only 1 square. I'm double checking this time to make sure I didn't make that wrong. 1 square. This last shape is a little more difficult. We haven't focused on this one as much, but it is called a rhombus. And a rhombus is really just like a square, but or rectangle, but somebody decided to make it a little bit sideways. And they decided to shift it a little and take the angles a little more. So instead of having nice square corners, they have little pointed corners, kind of like triangles do. And that is a rhombus. And there's only 1 rhombus in this picture. And there we have it. Our picture is made out of triangles, a square, and a rhombus. All right. Make sure you write those. If you need more time copying these words, please pause the video. I'm going to go ahead and look at number 2 now. It says use your 2 tanagram pieces to make a square. Which 2 pieces did you use? Draw or trace the pieces to show how you made a square. So in order to do that, you're going to have to cut this out. This is what is called a tanagram. A tanagram is a shape made out of multiple shapes. So you're going to have to cut this out And you're going to need to cut out each individual shape. So if you're needing to, please go ahead and pause this video in order to cut it out. I have to cut mine out still too. Let me check the drawers in my desk. I have pens, but no scissors. Please give me a second. Scissors. I need to now cut out the tanagram so that each one has its individual shapes. It's a square. But now I'm going to go ahead and cut out each individual shape. I'm going to start here at this triangle at the bottom. And here I have my triangle, and I'm going to keep going. Take your time to cut this out nicely. And this can help you on other future projects with shapes. Maybe you didn't finish lesson number 4. You can use these shapes to help you finish it if needed. It might be a little difficult because these are a little large. Some of these triangles are a little large. But I definitely recommend you hold on to these shapes because you might be able to use them for something else. I'm dropping my shapes on the ground. Okay. Alright, I went ahead and cut out all my shapes. And now I have a pile of shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and put those to the side, away from my trash, so that I don't mix it all up, okay? So now here it says to use 2 of your tanagram pieces. So take 2 of your pieces, and you need to make a square. So right away, it's telling you, you can't use your square to make a square because you need to use 2 pieces. So there are different ways that you could do this. You can take your 2 large triangles and you can push them together, and this makes a square. You can take your 2 small triangles and put them together, and this makes a square as well. You can not quite. Nope, that needs 3 pieces. So really, there's only 2 ways to do it. You're going to have to use your triangles to make a square. But then it just says you need to draw or trace the pieces and how you make it. So if you just draw a square here and go, well, I drew a square, that's it, I'm done. It doesn't tell me how you drew it. You need to show me how these pieces fit together to make a square. Otherwise, I'm going to see the square and say, okay, great, you drew a square, but you didn't show me how you made the square. I need to know how you made the square. So please show how you made the square here, okay? So you can trace the pieces if you need to, or you can draw it and then show how they fit together to make the square. Number 3, it says use 4 of your tanagram pieces to make a trapezoid. Draw or trace the pieces to show the shapes you made. There are 2 different ways to draw a trapezoid. So before you take your shapes to go out and put it together, I am going to draw the 2 ways a trapezoid can be made on my paper to help maybe guide you into seeing how you can put it together. Okay, so trapezoid can be drawn 2 ways. It can look like a rectangle with just 1 triangle added to the side, or it can look like a rectangle with 2 triangles on each side. Both of these are trapezoids, and if you make a shape with 4 pieces, either one of these, it will be correct. So go ahead and try your best to make the trapezoid. I'm going to do it too. So you need to use 4 pieces. Okay. Hopefully you have that done. If not, maybe you're a little more stumped. Ask your family for help if you're needing a little more help to get this one done. It's a little more difficult to make a trapezoid with the 4 pieces compared to some of the other ones we've done. But it is possible. So just as a hint, you might need to use a square, multiple triangles, and maybe your rhombus to help you complete it. Or you can use trying to figure out a different way to do it. You can always use a square and just triangle. So just a square and triangles. Or that. If you can't figure it out with 4 pieces, try to at least use 3. I'm seeing 2 different ways you can use 4 pieces to do it, but if you can't, try to use at least 3 pieces of the tanagram to go ahead and make your trapezoid. Remember to try to use as many pieces as you can to go ahead and complete it. So if you can't find 4, try to do at least 3. With 3, it's definitely easier to do it. So if you can't figure out the 4 and you and your parents are just stuck, try to make it with 3 of the pieces. And I will say that's okay. All right. This next one, number 4, it says use all 7 tanagram pieces to complete the puzzle. Okay, so what it's asking you to do is to put the tanagram together in a new shape. I'm going to say go ahead and try to use all 7 tanagram pieces to go ahead and try to make a triangle. Now that might sound crazy, but it is possible. Or you can take the tanagram pieces to make a hexagon or a pentagon. Either way, take all 7 tanagram pieces and make a new shape. What that new shape is, I'm not particularly, I don't particularly care as long as it's a real shape and not just a bunch of pieces in whatever. So you can make a triangle, you can make a pentagon, or you could go ahead and make a hexagon, or maybe a rectangle, but not a square because it was already a square. Either way, do your best, have fun, pick a shape, make it however you want, figure out how it can go together to make a new shape using all 7 of the pieces, and I cannot wait to see when you submit it what it is going to look like. This last one is saying with a partner, which you can't really do while you're at home. So I'm going to read it. Please bear with me as I tell you what you're going to do instead, okay? It says, with a partner, make a bird or a flower using all of your pieces. Draw or trace or show these pieces on the back of your paper. Experiment to see what other objects you can make with your pieces. Draw or trace to see what you created on the back of your paper. So you don't really have room on the back of your paper because the next is this. However, if you have some room here, try to go ahead and do something here. Have fun with it. So it's saying make a bird or a flower using all of your pieces. But really all I care is go ahead and have some fun and make me a picture using all 7 of your Tanagram pieces. Maybe you make a person, maybe you make a flower, maybe you make a car. Have fun and use all 7 pieces, and they all need to touch together in order for it to be a Tanagram, okay? So if your pieces are split apart like this, it doesn't count. They all need to touch. How you make the shape and what shape you make is completely up to you. And this lesson is a little bit more fun, I think, because you can have a little more freedom to figure out what your shapes are going to be. And just do your best, okay? This next one, it says use words or drawing to show how you can make a larger shape with 3 smaller shapes. Remember to use the names of the shapes as an example. So I want you to make one larger shape using 3 smaller shapes. So maybe you use 3 triangles to make a different shape. Maybe you use a triangle and a rectangle and another triangle. Either way, you're going to take 3 shapes. You can use these to help you and show how you made a bigger shape. Either way, it needs to be a shape like a larger triangle, like a hexagon, a pentagon, an octagon. It needs to be a shape like that. Or you can use it to use 3 larger pieces to make a rectangle. Either way, go ahead and do your best. Figure out how you can take some of these 3 smaller shapes to make one larger shape. There is lots of different ways you can go ahead and take smaller shapes to make a larger shape to do well on this quiz. Have fun with this, you guys. Color it in if you want to, but I recommend if you're going to color it in so you can see the different shapes, don't color them all the same color, because if you color both of these red, I'm not going to be able to see the difference in your shapes. So you could do like a green triangle and a red rhombus and a blue triangle. But either way, if you're going to color it in, keep the colors different. Otherwise, they all kind of blend together, and I can't really see each individual shape. So lesson 5 hopefully isn't too hard. If you are having questions on lesson 5, please send me an email or go ahead and add a comment to the class Google Classroom. I try my best to check it during the day, but unfortunately I don't always have time to check it until after school. And if I'm seeing a comment, I will try to get back to you guys as quickly as possible. All right, that is lesson 5. And in lesson 6, you guys are going to go over some more shapes again. And you are going to need, to have some colored pencils or something to help you color it. All right. Thank you. Bye.